Welcome into another SE Check-In presented by First Texoma National Bank. Today we are talking to Chris Eusay. Eusay, one of our more recent grads, played baseball. He was on the field in 2019 and 2020. Came in, sat a year in 2018 under Coach Crabtree. Chris, let's just jump right into it. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. Doing pretty good. Happy to be back in Durant.
Well, it's good to have you back. As we jump into this, I want to back up before we go forward and talk a little bit about how you came to land in Durant. You grew up in Anacoco, Louisiana, and you spent your first 2 years at Southern. What took you to Southern?
I was just chasing the D1 dream, honestly. They said you play LSU once or twice a year. I was like, I'm in for that. I always wanted to play at Alex Box.
So you spent a couple of years at Southern, and then you decide to make the career move and transition to Division II up here to Southeastern under Coach Crabtree. In his first year, you come up and you set a year. Talk a little bit about the transition and your decision to come to Southeastern.
Well, my coach at Southern ended up retiring the same year I left, and I didn't think that that environment would ever. I didn't think we'd win. I guess I didn't think I fit in well there, I guess, per se. So started communicating with my summer coach, and he knew Coach Traylor, and put me in contact with him and Coach Crabtree. So that was actually towards the summer. It was kind of getting late. I was taught – a lot of other schools talked to me, but nothing fit what I was looking for. And then Crabby called me, and his track record I really liked. I liked what he'd done. He turned a lot of programs around. And I knew what he was coming into, Southeastern, with the great past that Coach Matheny had and set. And I don't know, I just bought into it. I was all in. The majors didn't match up, so I changed my major to come here. Just like the coaching staff and what they had in mind.
Good deal. You make the move up here and you had to set a year. Talk about taking that year off from competing and what you did with it.
Well, it was tough. It wasn't completely my decision, but it happened how it happened. I just came in that fall, and I just struggled, and I never dealt with failure like that before, so I didn't know how to handle it, never came out of it. And Coach Crabtree said he didn't see me play much that year, so he said either you can get a couple ABs or you can redshirt. So I said I'll redshirt, and kind of took a step back. Didn't figured the reason I did played like I had was I was pressing too hard instead of just letting my talents take over, using my head too much. That's easy to do in baseball. So I took that step back and probably took a month or two off of everything and came back, hit it hard. And then I had some really good mentors over the summer that helped me find my head really and just way to maximize my skills.
So while it wasn't necessarily something that you had looked at doing, it turned out to be something that helped you in the long run. And, a lot of people don't take advantage of those opportunities, whereas you took the chance to get things right on the field. Yes.
Yeah. I don't regret it. I'm glad it happened. I wouldn't have ever matured as a player if I hadn't redshirted. I just kept getting in my head like I always did.
Now you move into 2019 and you're on the field. Talk a little bit about what it was like to jump back in and be, be a contributing member of a team?
Well, I mean, it was awesome after that long. Even in summer ball, I think I was the most intense person on the field. Everybody got done playing, and I hadn't played for a year, so I was excited to play in summer, and then just getting back in the spring. It was awesome. Find your competitive spirit again.
So you moved from 2019 into 2020, and you went from contributing to starting. You started all 23 games that we were able to play in the spring of 2020. Talk about how the season was going over the first 20 games.
Well, Coach Crabtree and Coach Traylor, they basically rebuilt the team this year. So we were still kind of wet behind the ears, but we were definitely the most talented team I thought that we had, and we were slowly figuring it out. And I think that right as the season was ending, we were figuring it out as a team, how to win at this level and how to win the close tight games against the better competition, which we hadn't been doing. I think we were right at 500 when the season ended, but I think that was where we were about to turn around. Everybody was falling in place.
Well, a running theme through these videos has been the discussion of how the coronavirus, the pandemic has affected everyone. Most everyone we've talked to have been in their careers and things like that. You're the first athlete I've gotten to talk to who actually saw their season cut short by the cancellations. Talk a little bit about the decision went down and what you and your teammates were going through.
Well, it didn't seem real. It took about 2.5 weeks for it to set in that we weren't going to play anymore. I always kept saying, "Oh, we'll be back, we'll be back," but obviously we're still in it right now. 4 or 5 months later, it kind of sucked. Like I said, I felt like we were turning everything around, figuring stuff out, and then for it to just be kind of taken away from us right there, it sucked. But also, it wasn't as bad for us as I thought it would be for like the basketball teams. They just had incredible years, and they had their postseason taken away from them. We were halfway to the postseason. So, I mean, to me, for me to feel bad, it didn't feel right because of what they had to go through.
But, despite having your season ended early, and despite some of the opportunities people had to come back, you went ahead and graduated. Talk about your decision to go ahead and get your degree and move on to the next step.
Well, as you said, I was graduating. I've been in college for 5 years, so I was kind of beat on school, as a lot of people will probably feel after their 5th year. And there's not a market out there for a 24-year-old senior coming out of college, in the baseball world. So I figured it'd be best. I had confidence that I would make it at the independent level, and a lot of the higher leagues they like to see pro stats, so figured I'd jump right into it.
And as somebody who took a couple extra years to get out of school, I can certainly sympathize with the ready to get on with some post-school.
Yeah.
So you took the opportunity, as you said, to jump into the next phase of your career, and it didn't take long, despite the delays from the pandemic. You jumped right into independent league ball. Tell us a little bit about where you landed and how that went down.
So I had the option of it was kind of, well, let me start from the beginning. When it ended, when our season ended, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go to all these Frontier League tryouts and higher league tryouts and see if I can get picked up by one of them. And then if I can't, then I'll go to a feeder league, like a rookie league, which would be like the Pecos or the Empire League, which ended up being my two options because all of those tryouts ended up getting canceled. So I actually registered for the Empire League, and that was my plan for a long time, but they weren't giving updates as they weren't giving very many updates at all. So I didn't want to wait around, and Coach Krabby and Coach Traylor recommended me to manager Sean McNeil of the Tucson Segueros, and he called me, and I think we had like 4 phone calls where I was trying to decide what was best to do. And every time he called me, he had new information. So I liked how I was being updated. And like when he first called me, we were supposed to be in Tucson. Well, when I committed to come, we were supposed to be in Houston playing in a 4-team bubble or a 5-team bubble. And I ended up having a friend that lived down there, and his family was gracious enough to house me. So that played a big part in my decision. And I chose that. I thought I couldn't pass up that opportunity. God was telling me to go there.
So along those lines, you got a place to land. You're finally getting back on the field. Talk a little bit about how how your bubble season went inside the lines.
Well, I got there and I hit 1 home run in all of the spring season here at Southeastern. And in spring training, I hit 2 home runs and like 3 doubles or something like that. So I was that was like to make the team, I guess. And so that earned my spot. I ended up starting at shortstop. I think 26 out of the 30 games. And my manager, I would have started all 30, but to stay a rookie, you got to stay under 100 at bats. So I ended up with 92 or 91 at bats. So I'm still be considered a rookie come next season, which is nice. Because in independent league, you get you only get so many experienced and veteran players, so that helps the players and managers in the future. And from spring training through about the first half of the season, I was really hot, and then I kind of because when you get to that level, it's all about all about your performance if you're going to move up. It's not how your team does. Now, don't get me wrong, we were winning, so that made it a lot more simple. And I kind of got caught up in my stats a little bit, started thinking a little bit too much, had some unfortunate off days and rainouts that ran together that it's kind of hard to get out of a rhythm and then come back in. And I think I had like 5 days off in a row, and I went from hitting 420 to 320 in a week, just from trying to jump back in and find another rhythm. And then I kind of found my feet again, and then slowly I hit the ball well to end the season. I just couldn't find any green grass. So, I was satisfied with how I swung it. And then defensively for the playing service we were on was not exactly the best, but I think I ended up only having 4 errors in those 26 games with like a 966 fielding percentage, which was pretty nice. So I think at least when I struggled with my bat, I was able to make up with it with the glove.
And that's, as long as you just got to keep plugging. And as somebody who does stats, I know those batting averages will go down faster than they go up.
Oh yeah.
But it went pretty well. Your team picked up, you played well. Your team picked up the championship in your league, and you played well enough to continue your opportunities. Talk about your next step.
So a guy I actually played with at the beginning of this year, and the team that we beat in the championship is now the head of a team up in Indiana in the Liberation League. And he kept up with us and some other players from my team, and ended up giving me and a couple other guys the opportunity to go up there and play for him in the Liberation League, which used to be the Pacific Association. So it's a step up. It's going to be a pretty cool opportunity.
Then so you go play in another league. What are your long-term plans? Do you see yourself clawing at it until you either move up or can't move anymore?
Yeah, I would. You would like to move up as fast as you can, but baseball has its way of telling you when you're done. So when that day comes, I'll accept it, but you gotta give it 100% until that day comes. So I would like to eventually get either signed by an affiliated team and see how far I can go with that, or go play overseas in Germany or somewhere like that, one of those good leagues over there.
Well, Chris, it's been great catching up with you. Best of luck as you head up to Indiana and beyond that. It's always great to catch up with some alumni, and it's even better sometimes when you can catch up with somebody that you just saw a few months ago. So, like I said, best of luck up there. I'd like to thank you for stopping in. I'd like to thank First Texoma National Bank for presenting the SE Check-In. Chris, good to talk to you.
Thank you. You too. It was a pleasure.
Stay safe, and we'll talk to you later.
Sir, you too.